Lately, I have become obsessed with breakfast nooks. Not normal breakfast nooks either. The kind that make you feel like you should be reading a newspaper while something covered in butter cools on the stove. The kind that make you accidentally sit there for 3 hours with a cup of coffee that you keep reheating. The kind that are very Nora Ephron, slightly PBS cooking show, with a mildly concerning emotional attachment to toast. And for some reason, I became fully convinced that our kitchen needed one. Which would be great if we actually had one. At this point, this little corner is basically just a blank wall and a dream. But I can already picture it. Café curtains, late night dinners, cozy lighting. Somewhere I can actually linger for a while. So naturally, I started spiraling.
Huddled in a doorway, fighting off a trance, with my back pulled to my chest. She asked me if I was waiting for something. I said the answer 1,000 times over was yes.
Now, I would love to tell you that this was a casual idea. Something I thought about once and then calmly executed. Unfortunately, that would be a lie. Because once I decided I wanted a breakfast nook, I started noticing them everywhere. In movies, in cookbooks, in old cafes, in photos of kitchens belonging to people I never met and will never meet. And somewhere along the way, I crossed the line from, that looks nice, to, I probably should build one. So I started collecting inspiration. And after staring at enough photos, I realized I kept coming back to the same things. Built-in benches, soft curtains, a tiny table by the window, collected artwork. The sort of spaces where somebody might leave a newspaper on the table and forget about it until lunchtime. Which conveniently gave me a plan. Benches here, a suspicious amount of pillows, a little cafe table here, curtains, a gallery wall, the shelf above with so many trinkets. And because this is still my actual house and not a movie set, a hidden litter box for the cats. So this was the vision. Now, all I had to do was build it.
Somewhere outside of Eden, she came down to let me in, and then she left for the light. I was creeping through the brush and the shadows, man, I was scared for my life.
Having 3 cats means we need somewhere for them to go potty. And since we usually have a box here that hides their litter box, and we're taking that away now, we have to fix that problem. So, we're going to install our own.
But it can break you. Remember, take care of your heart and cry. Oh, but somehow
I brought pastries. I don't know if there's an official rule that says you're supposed to eat pastries while waiting for paint to dry, but if there isn't, there probably should be. It just feels right. So I made some tea, sat on the floor, and spent a few minutes admiring my progress. Which is always a dangerous thing to do in the middle of a project, because the second you stop working and start looking around, your brain starts getting ideas. For a few minutes, I was feeling very pleased with myself. The benches were in, the paint was drying, and for the first time, I could actually picture what this little corner was going to become. It finally felt less like a construction zone and more like the breakfast nook I'd been imagining for weeks. Then I looked up, and there it was. That wall. Now, objectively, there was absolutely nothing wrong with it. It was just a wall doing perfectly normal wall things. But after spending weeks staring at inspiration photos, I had developed opinions. And suddenly, all I could think about was how empty it looked. Which is how I found myself convincing Ryan that what this breakfast nook really needed was one more project. Every breakfast nook I loved had this feeling that somebody actually lived there. There were cookbooks within reach, novels tucked into corners, little reminders that people sat down here long enough to read something. So the plan was to add a narrow bookshelf, a place for cookbooks, favorite reads, and just enough literary evidence to suggest Julia Child might stop by for tea. shelf was finally up, the benches were in, and for the first time the nook was starting to feel like itself. Which is funny, because finishing one thing immediately made me aware of about 3 other things that I still needed to get done. One of the biggest was the window. Up until now, it had mostly been doing its job and staying out of the way. But if this corner was actually going to feel finished, it needed a little attention too. That's where 2PAGES comes in. One thing I love about this nook is the window. It's what makes the whole corner feel bright and cozy in the first place. But living in Texas, all that sunlight can be a little aggressive, especially in the summer. The first thing I added were these Café curtains. These are the Celia striped plaid Café curtains, and they were exactly the kind of detail this space needed. They're soft, charming, and they make the nook feel a little more like a place you're supposed to linger in. Which is dangerous because I already spend enough time sitting around drinking tea and staring out the window. Then I added one of their bamboo shades. I love the warmth and texture that it adds to the space. And because it was custom sized for the window, it fits perfectly. It also gives me more control over all that Texas sunshine when I need it. And it's incredibly easy to use. Some shades feel like you're negotiating with them every time you try to pull them up and down. This one glides really smoothly, which I appreciate because I'm definitely going to be using it every day. And apparently, once I started picking out window treatments, I completely lost self-control. Because while I was choosing curtains for the Nook, I also fell in love with a pair for the living room. These are the Holly Country floral drapes, and if you've watched my channel for any amount of time, you probably already know I am incapable of resisting anything that looks like it belongs in an English cottage. I love changing curtains with the seasons, and these felt like such a beautiful way to bring in a little pattern and softness into the room. One thing I really appreciated throughout the entire process was that everything was custom sized to fit my windows. It takes so much of the guesswork out ordering window treatments, and it makes the finished result feel far more intentional. The fabrics are beautiful, installation was surprisingly straightforward, and they help bring the room much closer to what I wanted it to feel like. If you'd like to check out any of these pieces I added, I'll have everything linked in the description below, and you can use my code Shelby'sCottage20 for 22% off your order. Now that the window was finally dressed, the Nook was beginning to look exactly the way I had imagined it. Unfortunately, I still needed all the things that were supposed to go in it, which meant it was time to go thrifting.
Say about it, the better. Make it up as we go along. Feet on the ground, head in the sky. It's okay, I know nothing's wrong. Nothing. I got plenty of time. You got light in your eyes. Standing here beside me. I love the passing of time. Never for money, always for love. Cover up and say goodnight. Say goodnight. Home is where I wanna be, but I guess I'm already there. I come home, she lifted up her wings. I guess that this must be the place. I can tell one from the other. Did I find you or you find me? There was a time before we were born, where someone asked, this is where I'll be. Where I'll be. We drift in and out. Singing to my mouth. Out of all those kinds of people, you got a face with a view. I'm just an animal looking for a home. Share the same space for a minute or two, and you love me till my heart stops. Love me till I'm dead. Eyes that light up, eyes look through you. Cover up the blank spots, hit me on the head and say,
I'd say the breakfast nook officially survived its first dinner. And honestly, I could not be happier with how it turned out. I think my favorite part is that it doesn't feel like it's brand new. It feels like it's always belonged here, and that's exactly what I was hoping for. I'm already looking forward to slow mornings with coffee, reading through cookbooks, game nights, cozy dinners, and probably eating far more pastries than any one breakfast nook requires. Thank you all so much for coming along with me on another project. I know I say it every time, but I genuinely could not do any of this without you. And it's so much more fun getting to share these projects as they come to life with you. If you enjoyed today's video, please let me know in the comments, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I would absolutely love to have you. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, friends.
Bye, have a beautiful time.
Bye, have a beautiful time.